In the early hours of January 27th, 2014, a mighty battle took place. A battle that would create ripples across the universe.
It's shaping up to be one of the biggest fights in all of EVE history, all of MMO history as well.
It was pretty amazing. I mean, basically, it sort of happened by mistake.
So we thought we were pretty confident jumping in and going for it. When we saw the other side, by that stage there were thousands of people pouring into the system. That's when we knew this was going to be a big one.
Primary is still at Curie 117. Broadsword. Secondary, 17 broadsword. Secondary, Curie 117 broadsword.
It was the largest, most destructive online battle in the history of video games, to be known as the Bloodbath of B-R5RB, and all caused by a simple unchecked auto payment box. It appears human error led to the greatest ever war in the universe of EVE Online.
If someone wants to understand EVE, probably the easiest way for me to explain it is to borrow a quote from another well-known EVE player. He said, "What is EVE?" And he said, "EVE is just a cardboard box with 300,000 people in it and no rules."
It's an epic sci-fi simulation universe where you can play with hundreds of thousands of people from around the world, all in one server, all in one environment. And really, you have the freedom to do whatever you want.
EVE Online predates WoW and has attracted over 500,000 subscriptions, which begs the question, why has this MMO survived when others haven't?
It's brutality. Yeah, absolutely. I think it all comes down to that. It's not easy, and I think gamers crave games that aren't easy.
It's about the struggle of, keeping your assets safe, and, you're never safe in EVE, so you risk every time you undock.
I think EVE has become such a huge phenomenon, has lasted for so long, because it's a game where we give so much control and influence to our players. It really is a game where the actual stories of the game, the true epicness of the game, comes from what the players do themselves. And we really believe that the best experiences are going to be the ones that players get to control themselves.
The whole content of the game is generated by players. The big battles, CCP, the manufacturers, just cross their fingers and hope like hell everything's going to sort of hang together whilst these people go nuts on their servers. And obviously they get some things they're not entirely happy about, but they live with it and they go, well, that's part of the concept.
You can do things in EVE Online that would get you banned in other MMOs. People regularly engage in piracy, griefing, scamming. Some people make a career out of doing those things within EVE, and it's one of those realities that you have to live with.
I wouldn't want to think that everyone is out to hurt everyone else, but generally people love being the bad guy.
So our organisation has a vast by Intel network. They embed themselves and work for different corporations, alliances within the game. And then whenever anything gets broadcast through their networks, they're able to relay that intel back to us in real time.
Amongst all of this organised chaos, there still remains a strong sense of humanity in the EVE universe.
EVE is a game with so many player-run groups that help other players get involved with it. EVE University is probably the most famous one. It started many years ago. I actually joined it when I started playing back in 2006. And it's an organization that's built by players for players to teach each other the way to play the game, the tricks of the trade, basically, and to support each other through that new player experience.
Just the whole sandbox concept is you can do whatever you want. So some people go, I'd like to help new players. And that's literally what they do. And then they just say, okay, I'm just going to advertise within the game. I'm happy to help you if you're having difficulty in this game.
It's because it doesn't cater to the lowest common denominator. This is a tough world. You're going to have to learn how to play in this world. It's not going to be easy, but then the world, like the universe, is there to be taken if you have, the passion for it and the ability and the skill.
It is very daunting for a new player, and EVE has some challenges in its learning curve. And most games are a fairly flat tonic learning curve. EVE is a cliff face.
The EVE universe is very harsh and dark, and you think you are on top and the next second you are way down.
Effectively what happened was the wallet settings that were designed to pay the monthly sovereignty bill lapsed, and Our rent wasn't paid, which meant that the station that we were basing out of, we didn't own it anymore. The bad guys that we were going up against decided to occupy that place, and there was a lot of value tied up in that particular station.
For some reason, both sides decided they might be able to win this, because if one side wasn't convinced they'd be able to win it, they wouldn't even engage. But they both decided that they could win it, so they dogpiled in, to use the term, and the rest is history.
By the time it was all over, 75 Titans gone, 13 super carriers destroyed, 370 dreadnoughts totally obliterated.
The equivalent value of upwards, I think about, the current number is about $300,000 worth of value was lost.
So a Titan is the largest spaceship in the EVE Online universe. It takes quite a number of months to train up a pilot to fly it, and a 1 year plus time frame. They're probably worth anywhere between $4,000 to $5,000, and they don't usually get destroyed. So I think my Titan was the third to go. So I sort of knew things were going to go downhill from there.
Yes, it hurts to lose it, but what's the point of having it in the hangar if you don't want to fly it? That's the point of EVE. It really becomes there is this something more at stake.
EVE's more than just a game because of the community that has built around it. It is at its core a social game. Sure, it's got internet spaceships and explosions and people scamming people and things like that, but what makes the game special is the social interactions. In some ways, the game that happens outside of the game, the metagame around EVE Online, is where the real meat of it is.
It's a different experience. It's a social experiment, if you like. It's an economic experiment.
Well, some would say like it's spreadsheets in space, but I truly feel like I'm accomplishing something, that I am building something within the game. And having that taken away from me, it becomes more than just, okay, I lost something in a game.
It was pretty fun actually. It was exciting. You know, those things are supposed to be used. If you don't fly them and don't use them, what's the point of having it? You feel a little twinge of pain, but it was pretty exhilarating. It was pretty great to be a part of.
There aren't many games out there that can claim to have had the same real-life impact that EVE has had on its players. Sure, there might come a time when the servers are shut down and this universe ceases to exist altogether, but at least every player will be able to look back and say, I was there.